Hey guys, how's it going? It's the Overanalyst here, and today is finally a review of the Made in Abyss movie, Dawn of the Deep Soul. It is technically their third movie, which is the bondrewd arc. And the first two movies were just recaps of the first season, so it's technically their first official movie that's canon to the story. And man, is this movie amazing. Just gonna say it right now. I don't think I've ever seen a movie, an anime movie, this amazing. The only thing I can think of that's real close to, but it's been forever since I've seen it, is the original Pokemon movie, honestly. Like, the animation, the music by Kevin Penkin, the just story, everything about this movie is amazing. Like, I'm giving it a solid 10 out of 10. Like, I can't think of hardly anything bad about this movie. Maybe I'll give it a 9.5 because, like, the one ish factor, it's not even an ish. No, I'm gonna, fuck it. It's a 10. It's a 10. And the reason why I'm saying it's a 10 is because I can't think of a good reason to knock the movie. Like, really, the only thing could really think about was that there's a lot of crying. Like, Rico cries a lot, and when Rico's not crying, it's Prushka, or when Prushka's not crying, it's Reg. And there's a lot of crying in the movie. But you know what? It fits. It's a dark movie because it's a very dark arc. If you don't know, it's the arc that covers bondrewd and all of his experiments. I did manga reviews about it. I think there covers mangas chapters 3 through 6, more or less, and or 3 through 5 because I haven't done 6 yet, and it's just simply amazing. You know how in the last review about Made in Abyss, I talked about how I didn't care so much for some of the art styles when it came to the fighting. Well, the animation cleans that up big time. When it came to the fight between Reg and bondrewd, I mean, that's pretty much all the fights. I knew exactly what was going on, and it was choreographed amazingly. Like I said, in the manga, the way that the art style isn't really effective when it comes to fighting. There's a lot of just weirdly drawn lines, and I'm sitting there like, I don't understand what's going on. But with the animation, you get to see, like, Reg's arms spinning around his body like a freaking tornado effect, which is amazing. It looks super dope. And then there's also just different type of weapons and special grade relics that bondrewd uses, which is amazing as well. I love every single relic they bring up. It's really kind of a cool power system because the way that it works is it's not really based off of like your own personal abilities. It's literally just based off of whatever you can freaking find and use. And I like that. Like, the reason why Rico seems so freaking overpowered isn't because she has a super grade relic. She just happens to have Reg, who's an Abad, and it's just a really cool power system. I think it's very unique and I like it, and it's just Reg's personality to even go along with that. So it makes him, even though he's kind of a tool, he's more than a tool. He's a full-fledged character, and I love him for it. Man, I just got to talk about Reg here for a real quick second, because I noticed it a lot in this movie, but it's something that I really noticed early on, and it's just the amount of pressure put on him. It's unfathomable, honestly, because everybody's telling him, hey, you've got to protect Rico. You got to protect Rico. If you fall, the whole plan's gone. You are the reason that she can move on and continue on into the abyss. You go down, the whole plan goes down. And that's a lot of pressure to put on this seemingly kid-like robot. Like, that just blows my mind. I love that so much because, in a way, that's just a lot of pressure that a lot of us people feel on just like I won't say on a daily basis, but it's something that it happens where, I guess for me personally, I'm an older brother. I'm like the eldest brother in my family. I got a lot of just pressure from my parents to be like, hey, you gotta take care of your little siblings. Your little siblings are look up to you. You know, you gotta act accordingly. I mean, anyone who's an older brother or sister, the oldest in their family, knows this feeling of a whole bunch of pressure put on them so that they have to protect the younger ones. And that's why I connect with Reg so much, kind of on a spiritual level, because he is burdened with that responsibility. Now, I don't have to go around and like save the day with my younger siblings, but I know that feeling of being pressured, and he takes it like a freaking champ. Not a single complaint from him. In the beginning of the movie, when they're in the Flowers of Eternal Youth, in that kind of garden area, he wanted to go and rescue some of those cave raiders. And Anachi's like, no, your responsibility is to Rico first. And you could just see the dilemma in his face as he's like, I want to help these people. But Nanachi's like, no, your responsibility is with Rico. And I love that. I just love seeing that and just seeing the conflict in him as he's fighting with these emotions of trying to do what he thinks is right, but also making sure that at the end of the day, they can continue on their journey. So that's my little rant about Reg and just how much I love him as a character. Now I want to talk about bondrewd. Bondrewd is a real fascinating character, and the more I read him, and the more, like, now that I've watched him, the more I just seem fascinated by him. Because, unlike a lot of antagonists who are evil for the sake of evil, bondrewd really isn't evil for the sake of evil. He's evil, don't get me wrong. He does experiments on children, and feels almost no remorse. But he does it for A, just to experiment, because that's just what he wants. He wants to learn as much as he can from the abyss. And B, he's also kind of developing Nanachi and everyone else. In a way, in his own very twisted, very wicked way, he's basically seeing everyone else and trying to get them to move forward and become stronger people, which is so wicked and twisted. But it still works. Like, he knew that in order for Rico to proceed further, she needed a white whistle that is special to her. So you know what he did? He set up Prushka with her. And he basically had Rico and Prushka form a very close friendship in a very short amount of time. And this was something that I complained a little bit about when doing the manga review, and that was just the fact that it felt a little bit rushed with their friendship. But here in the anime, the pacing was amazing. It felt just right for me, where I could see their friendship blossom, and I loved it a lot. Now, Nanachi still mentions towards the end that it seemed like it happened over a very short period of time, because it did. It happened in like a day, but it still made it so believable because Prushka practically lived by herself. She had no friends at all, and her only family was Papa. And it's real interesting because he said a line that you would hear, and you're like, hey, that sounds like a shonen protagonist. That sounds like something a protagonist would say. And it was something along the lines of, family isn't about blood shared between humans. It's about meeting strangers and forming strong and powerful connections with them. And through those connections, forming love. And that just blows my mind, but it's so true. Friendship is just a connection of love between two people. And he really wanted to develop that between him and Prushka, but I also think he really wanted to develop that between Prushka and Rico. I think that's the reason why, in the end, instead of Prushka becoming another white whistle for bondrewd, because that was a possibility, I think, she became a white whistle for Rico, because in the end, her bond with Rico was so much stronger than her bond with bondrewd. And I love that. I love that a lot, and I got to really get that sense from this movie a whole lot more than when I had just read the manga. So, huge props to the character bondrewd and how they portrayed it. I guess while I'm on the topic of portraying characters in the movie, I will mention that I watched the English dub for it. And the reason I did that was simply because I could not find a Japanese version with the English subtitles. Like, that was really it. The only version I saw was an English translation, and trying to find the movie turned out to be a lot harder than it should have been. But anyways, I gotta say, that was one of the best English dub performances I've heard in a while. You know, if you've followed this channel a little bit and you've seen my Jujutsu Kaisen review, I mentioned how in the beginning I felt like the English dub was a little bit corny. I felt like it just didn't fit right at all. But as the series progressed, it felt like, okay, it worked well. Made in Abyss, for like maybe the first 5 minutes, I was like, maybe English dub, maybe not. And then I got hooked in. That was it. Their vocal performances was just simply amazing. Great job by the English dubs. I can't praise it enough. Everyone really killed it. And I loved the person who played bondrewd, because he had this presence where every time he was on screen, your attention was immediately drawn to him. Because, like, not only is the animation crisp and clean, and trust me, I took like 20-30 screenshots that I may or may not overlay in this video. By now you would have known if I edited it down. But man, the animation was amazing. Every single shot, I swear, was worthy to be like a thumbnail for this video. Like, that's why I took like 20 freaking photos, because I'm sitting there and I was like, I want everything to be a screenshot, to be a thumbnail. But basically, the way they drew bondrewd was just amazing, and I love how he took up so much of the frame. Like, every shot that he was in, he took up the majority of the frame, which really gave him this ominous feel. And they colored him in like this kind of dark purple, almost black color, with the exception of like just this rose violet that goes through his mask. Super cool. Oh my gosh, the vibrant colors in this anime. And that's something to even praise the original season for. Is just stunning. The visuals is just beautiful. The landscape shots, I can't praise enough. The landscape shots are amazing, and it feels like I'm freaking transported into the world, and I'm just invested into this abyss. It's so cool. It is so amazingly cool. And I love what they did with even the creatures of the abyss. Like in the beginning, they had this kind of long, disgusting fish eel creature, and I was really curious how they were going to do that because in the manga, the image is really disturbing and it looks really hard to reproduce. But they did an amazing job reproducing the creature and really getting into that gross looking effect. I love it because I think that was an actual issue I had with the show early on, was that some of the creatures looked just kind of out of place, but this time around it just fit the art style so well. Amazing, just amazing job. And I think the only thing really left to praise is the music by Kevin Penkin. Now, I've loved his music during the Made in Abyss Season 1. I am constantly listening to it. It's my go-to study music, it's my go-to relaxing music, and it's kind of weird because it's a very bizarre soundtrack. And the movie just takes that bizarreness and rolls with it even more. So it doesn't really intensify, but it changes up a little bit and just keeps the bizarre nature, which I love because the abyss is a very bizarre place. Like Rico mentions, the waterfalls flow upwards in the second layer, which is super cool. It's such a cool little trait that I personally want to keep in mind in case I ever do some writing. And it's just, I love the music so much. I can't praise it enough. Like, if I knew the correct pronunciation of the vocal song that's that has very strong vocals that plays in like the middle of the movie, then I can't remember. It's like Havana Cabrera. You see, I can't do it justice, which is sad. But they did another rendition of that, which is just so good. It's so good. And so that's gonna be it for this video. Thank you all so much for checking out and listening to me ramble and gush about this movie. I think I'm just gonna give it a 10. Like, I don't think I've seen an anime movie this good since Pokemon. And, like, it's been years and years since I've seen Pokemon. So, like, I'm just going based off of nostalgia value with that. This movie, so good. It's amazing. So, that's gonna be it for this review. I'm the Anime Overanalyst, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.